Secrets to removing hard inquiries from your credit report, and I will keep this video short and sweet. What up, you got Mr. Smith, 0.5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video I want to talk about secrets to removing hard inquiries from your credit report. You see, hard inquiries affect your credit in a couple of different ways. It affects your credit because if it's a hard inquiry, it dings you a couple of points each time you have a hard inquiry. Now, they do tend to roll off every 2 years, and sometimes they don't even have an effect at all after 12 months. So you want to focus on the ones within the most recent 12 months because those are the ones that have the biggest effect. And it's a couple of things you need to make note of just so you don't go through trying to delete all of the hard inquiries on your profile. You got to understand a couple of things before you try to delete those hard inquiries. Another thing is it affects your new credit, which is your most recent credit, the things that you've done most recently in terms of your credit. Now, this is the queen right here on the phone, so I'm gonna stick to the video, but hello, queen. Okay, call you back. All right, so I'm gonna still keep the video short and sweet. The hard inquiries basically affect your new credit. They need to see how have you been doing for the most recent time as it relates to your credit. How's your past 12 months been looking? How's your past 24 months been looking? And if they see that you have a lot of hard inquiries on your report, it looks as though that you're trying to borrow money from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and they don't like that. So in other words, that's another reason to get those hard inquiries removed. Now, I will say this. You don't want to go in there trying to remove hard inquiries from accounts that you actually have accounts with. So if you see a hard inquiry from a car dealership that you actually got a loan through and you're paying them, why would you move that inquiry? They have to do that inquiry in order to approve you for that money. Once the money has been approved, you keep that inquiry. No big deal. However, car dealerships are notorious for having a ton of inquiries to hit your report. So if that's the case, you can go about getting those other hard inquiries removed if you don't have an actual account set up with those other entities. How can you go about doing it? A couple of ways. You can go directly to the bureaus and mail them a letter and say, hey, you don't recognize these inquiries, because many times you don't. They'll run it through so many people. You're like, man, I'll apply through this one person. How in the world did they run it through all of these entities? So you're not lying if you're saying you didn't approve or authorize these, because you didn't. You went to apply directly through this dealership or the people that approved you. So you can dispute it directly through them, send a letter, say, I don't recognize this, and sometimes the inquiry can fall off. Another thing you can do is call the entities that are reporting and say, hey, I see something on my report. I don't recognize this. Can you, delete that hard inquiry? Go directly to them, and sometimes their phone number will show up at the bottom of your credit report. And the last thing you can do, and sometimes this may be the first option, is to call the bureaus directly and tell them exactly what the letter was going to say. Hey, I don't recognize these inquiries. Can you go ahead and get these inquiries removed? And then sometimes they'll get that joker deleted right then and there. So I gave you 3 quick ways. The last way is one of the first ways you want to try, but you can also send a letter directly to them as well. That way you have both things working on your behalf, because those hard inquiries getting removed off of your report helps your new credit. And if it dings you any amount of points, especially if it was like 8 inquiries that came from you applying for a car, then by all means it'll help your score and keep you clean in terms of your report and having a solid credit profile. That being said, that's all I got. Let me call the queen back, Mr. Smith. Signing out. Salute.